welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for subscribing, and if this is your first time here, my name is Kulu, and today I'm back with a story time. I know it's been a minute. I've been really busy the last week, so I couldn't post anything. This story time ish, I hope like these people are not gonna watch this video because skak. So it goes back to 2015. Well, actually, the big event, if I can call it that, happened in 2016, but I'm gonna have to start in 2015 in order for you to understand like what actually happened. So 2015, I was doing my first year. I stayed at a commune. So we stayed, it was quite it was a huge house. It was a double story and it had like a lot of rooms, so there were a lot of students staying there. And then I stayed with my friend. There were these bunch of guys that stayed downstairs. So we sort of became close ish, I can say, because we were a large group, so we didn't generally like go out or need to invite people in. We'd literally do everything ourselves. Like if we wanted to host, we'd do that. Like there was never just a moment where we needed to go beyond what we had. Fine, 2015 went by. There was nothing dramatic that happened. So a friend of mine, she wasn't my friend 2015, but she stayed in the same house. There was a guy that she was seeing. Well, they were not really dating. They had a thing. One of the guys that stayed downstairs, they had a thing, but back then I wasn't really like that close to them, so I didn't know the extent of whatever was happening between them. But I knew, there was a thing, and then that's just it. And then 2016, that's when we became like very close. The girl that then became my friend actually stayed in the same room that I stayed in, so we became like very close. And our relationship with the guys as well was like solid, that I became best friends with the guy that she had a thing with the previous year. They were also like friends. There was nothing deep, that happened. Whatever they had ended like in good terms, I suppose, because she fell pregnant by her boyfriend from back home that same 2015. So 2016 she came back and she was grand, and it was like, okay, I like her, became friends, stayed together. We also had this other friend, but just for the sake of the story, I'm just gonna speak about her. So me and now guy bestie, which was her person or her situationship, if I can put it like that, became really close. Like we became so close. Like he was literally my best friend. We did everything together, like everything, and she didn't mind, because there were no bad vibes between them. They were also friends to an extent. So the relationship was quite okay. There was nothing hectic happening. I remember in 2016, I was not really dating. I was not in a relationship. I wasn't focused on dating because I had a bad breakup with my ex the previous year. So it was like, I just want time out. I just want to focus on school and having fun, and that's it. Sharp. And then I don't remember when exactly I saw bestie's friend. So there was a time when his friend came over to the house, and I was like, he is nice, he looks cute, but the interaction wasn't much. So I saw him, we didn't talk much, but then I noticed him, And then he didn't even stay long. He left. And then that's when I asked my friend, but okay, where's your friend from? What's his story? You know, the just J. So after asking my friend about him, he started like hyping the whole thing. Like, actually, now that I come to think about it, you guys have a lot in common. Like, he likes this type of car. It's the same car that you like. He likes, when somebody does that, like when they just hype the whole situation, that okay, he actually like would make sense together. But I wasn't even like there yet until he like kept telling me all of these things, and I'm like, okay, he's interesting. I would like to get to know him. And then somehow we ended up chatting, me and his friend. We ended up chatting. One thing led to another. He took me out on a date and we started dating. So I would initially call him a crush. I did have a bit of a crush on him before the actual relationship took place, until we started talking, and then we went out, and then I got to understand what he's all about. Fine, it's nice. Now I'm in a relationship with this guy. I don't think it was much of a I love him. I just liked him. That's it. It was just like, okay, I like you. You're a type, but then that's just it. There was nothing like more, nothing less. Finally, we started dating. It was nice. It started getting like really serious, like relationship goals. We would even like get matching stuff and whatnot, and that's when it took a sharp curve. So now my friend, because obviously he is best friends with the guy that I'm dating, and he's also my best friend, I'm sharing a lot with him. So like, it's like everything that happens, we talk about it. This relationship is new, so there's a lot of exciting things to talk about. So I tell him, but with time I noticed that he's not really like entertaining now whatever I have to say about guy. Like, he doesn't seem to be interested anymore. And then I start like limiting things that I tell him, because I felt like maybe it was getting awkward to a point where he felt like maybe if me and my boyfriend are to fight, then it's gonna be very weird for him, because we're both close to him. So maybe like I made a lot of excuses for him. I was like, okay, no, it's probably that. So let me just try and limit whatever I tell him. Let me just try and manage the situation. Okay. Fine, I stop telling him things about my boyfriend, telling him things about us. I stopped sharing altogether at some point. And then he starts telling me negative things about my boyfriend. Now I don't understand, because you guys are friends. Why would you come at me with these things? Especially because I had told you like prior being with this person that I liked him, and you hyped the situation to a point where that like actually stuck. Because I don't even want to call it a like at the beginning. It was just like a stupid crush, and then you made it real, because then you started saying like we had a lot in common. He loves this, he loves that, he's all about this. Like, you guys would share like so many similarities, it would work. And then now all of a sudden, now that I'm in the relationship and it's serious, you come and tell me negative things about him. Like, what's happening? And then he's like, no, I'm just not feeling your guys' relationship. It is not feeling our relationship. Okay, so I asked him why, because I'm thinking maybe he's trying to be protective. Maybe there's something that my boyfriend did and he doesn't want to tell me, because then it's going to create like obviously a lot of things, and he doesn't want to get in trouble or for things to blow up, ne? So I'm asking him, okay, like just tell me if something happened, tell me it's okay. I'm not gonna run to him and be like, you told me, like what's going on? And then friend tells me, no, I've got feelings for you. I'm in a relationship with his best friend, right? And then he comes and then he's like, I have feelings for you. After he had hyped me being with the best friend. Do you understand? So I'm very confused. I'm like, okay, like what's happening? Because now I don't understand. This is your best friend, and we're best friends. How can we now like overlook all of that and then see Jolly, like, does it make sense to you? Because now you're making my life complicated and it's just gonna be very, very awkward now moving forward. Confesses his love for me, feelings that no, I felt like this about you for quite a while, and yes, I shouldn't have let you and my friend be together because I've been feeling this way. And now I'm confused and I'm like this thing is so complicated because even you had a thing with my friend, my girlfriend. So also there's girl code, you know, there's just a lot of layers to this thing. It's not just that I'm with somebody. The person that I'm with first is your best friend. We are best friends. And then you and my friend had a thing previously. So how is it possible that we can have a relationship? Like, in what world will that even work? I was like, no, none of that stuff matters. I'm like, of course they do, because at the end of the day, I'm in a relationship and you are my friend, and that's how I feel about you. I don't think we could ever have anything more than that, unfortunately. Sharp, we had like the longest conversation about the situation, and it honestly felt like he understood, like he got it. He understood that it can happen, and understood where I was coming from, and he also understood that what he was saying basically did not make any sense. What he wanted to happen was impossible, like it could just not. Right, time goes by, it doesn't stop. So now it stopped being about him like saying negative things, but him like catching feelings every time I had to maybe go out with my boyfriend, or he comes over to see me. That it got to a point where it would be awkward now for them, because obviously we stay in the same house. So if he comes to see me, he'll visit him as well, you know. So now it would be awkward, like now there's some awkwardness between them. And at that point, I don't think my boyfriend even my then boyfriend even understood why things were the way that they were, because he was like now pulling off. He was cold, he's not in being himself. And every time if I go out with him, like I come back and then he's like mad, and I'm like, dog, like you can't behave like this, because it's not fair. Rather than like you tell me that we must just end the friendship, because I don't understand how I'm supposed to be friends with you and also be a girlfriend to my boyfriend, and knowing that you guys are best friends as well, and you come from like very, very, very far. And now things are gonna get weird because of a girl that you both just met not long ago, and something that you are all of a sudden coming up with after you knew where I stood. Because you could have told me from the moment I said he looks nice, like you shouldn't have entertained me. You should have just said that, you know what, this is how I feel, and I like say something. I don't know, I can't even like reason. Say something, say whatever, but basically entertaining me to be with a person. And then once I'm in the relationship, now I'm the same person that now needs to make a decision whether to leave this person and be with you, or you know. It made our relationship so difficult. It made it very complicated, and it got to a point where my boyfriend started noticing that, no man, there's something going on. because he would also like text me if I'm not around, if I'm with my boyfriend. He would text and call and like just do his funny, yeah, bro. So he eventually noticed and they had a fallout. I could not mend their relationship as much as I tried, because for me it was like niza uliswa ndim. Like, it's so stupid that you have to lose a friendship of many years because of one thing that now you could have avoided, and something that you're being selfish about, you know. But I eventually saw that let me not let me not be part of it as much as I am, but let me not entertain any of what was happening. So I'm not gonna be about taking sides. I'm not gonna be about just entertaining the whole thing, basically, because for me it was just like a headache. It was a serious headache that I even told my friends, and I was like, I don't understand what to do. And my friend that was with him actually was also, I think she also, as much as she never said to me that it hurt her, but I think she also caught feelings regarding him wanting to be with me, but then him knowing we were friends and still wanting to pursue that, because as much as they were friends and they had broken up and she was with somebody from back home, but then she still had feelings for him, and it was so evident, like it was clear as daylight. So it was just like a whole lot of complexities that were just grouped in one, and it gave me a serious headache. But nonetheless, I continued with my boyfriend, continued dating him, but I was still also friends with my male bestie, because I was like, I'm also not gonna end the friendship and then I break up with this guy, and then what, you know, especially because I was friends with him first and I knew him first. So I was like, I'm not gonna do that. But the one thing that I made a huge mistake with was creating boundaries, was basically just, you know, not entertaining what my friend was about, and like putting a stop to him and whatever I was trying to do to mess up the relationship. Yeah. But I didn't do that. That's where I failed. So it got to a point where my boyfriend then became very insecure, like very insecure, and we would fight a lot. And because I stay in the same house with this person, it did not make it easy. Now it was like, I also want this to happen because I keep entertaining him. Why am I still friends with him? Why, like a lot of things. But I think from my side as well, I messed it up because I entertained him, you know. I did not like put a stop to it, in the sense, as much as I did say, you know, it's not gonna happen. Like we're not gonna happen. We're friends, and I don't feel that way about you. I love you, but as a friend, as my best friend, and I'm never gonna look at you any other way, especially because I'm dating your best friend. That's just messed up. But still, I continued with the relationship with him. You know, I would nurse him when he gets mad because I went to him, when he started acting out because he bought me something. Like I would literally like nurse his feelings. I would make it seem like it was okay for him to act the way that he acted. Like it was valid for him to feel the way that he was feeling. So I think that motivated him to thinking that no, there's a chance here. I just need this one to get out of this relationship, and then something can happen. And then my boyfriend dumped me. It was like, listen, this is too much. I can't do it, because you can't choose also, so you're not making up your mind as to who you want to be with. And then I was like, but then I'm with you, and I've never said I want to be with this other person. I'm with you, and he's my friend, and I've explained that like numerous times. It's like, no, I'm not happy about how things are. Now me and him are fighting, and it's about you. So I don't understand why he would act the way that he acts if there's nothing happening between you guys. And there was genuinely nothing happening. There was literally nothing happening. I think the only thing that was happening was me not having boundaries for the friendship, and me not defending my relationship enough, because I think I really feared like hurting him. I really feared him feeling like I chose my boyfriend over him. So I was still like walking around eggshells around him, as much as I knew he was the person in the wrong. So when my boyfriend and I broke up, when he dumped me, actually, because he dumped me, he was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I was like, okay, fine. I can't force you to do this. It's fine. I'm gonna move on with my life. And then my friend and I got closer than we've ever been. Like, we got so close. He was there for me, and it also felt like, besides the whole breakup thing, because that didn't even hurt me, that's just how much I did not really love the guy. Not in a bad way, but I was not in love with him. It was just one of those, oh, I had a crush on you, so now I have an opportunity to date you, let me date you. That's just it. But there were things that were happening personally in my life, and he was there. Like, my friend was there through and through. I don't remember a time where I was going through something and he didn't show up for me. So that made our relationship quite strong. As much as the whole feelings thing was still there, but we were able to actually just be like, okay, can we not like put this at the like core of our relationship? Can we just be friends? And it's fine, I know how you feel, then I'm not there. So we're gonna need to, if we want to continue having a relationship together, we're gonna need to at least respect each other's feelings. So I respect how you feel about me, you need to respect how I feel about you, and then let's just leave it there. Okay, it seemed like we had an understanding, because things were fine, that he even got back with his ex from back home. But that changed quickly because he got hurt. Apparently girl was cheating, and he was just like, I'm done. And I was also there for him at that time. So when you're very vulnerable, and there's this one person that constantly comforts you, generally you like gravitate to them emotionally more. And that's what happened. I think we just gravitated towards each other, and it was like, we are here for each other and nobody else is like trying to be here for us. We've all we've got in this circle. Not long after everything, my ex then boyfriend, don't even know how to phrase it, he asked me that, okay, let's fix things, let's get back together, let's try to do better. Like, okay, let's go ahead. I have no reason to say no. Things started again, and the second time was worse than the first time. It was worse, and I think it's because he had gained hope. Like, my friend had gained hope that eventually I'm gonna be in the same wavelength of feelings as he was. So he didn't understand when I went back to him. He was crushed. He was so hurt, and I just didn't know how to handle everything. I was all over the place, honestly. I was all over the place. I was between like reassuring the person that I was dating that, what, there's nothing happening, it's okay, can you guys talk and try and fix things, you guys come from way back, like, you can't just fight for nothing. And then also with him trying to nurse how he felt, like, I understand, but then you need to also understand that this is where I am with feelings, but then you can't let this define how everything plays out between you and your best friend. It was a mess. It was a mess, but I'm like, I took responsibility because I felt like I, to an extent, let it happen. I let it happen. I let it get to where it was, and I don't know. I could have handled both situations a whole lot better than I did. And the thing is, you can't make everyone happy, and that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to keep everyone happy. I was trying to make sure that my friend doesn't get hurt. Um, he knows that I see him. He knows that I understand how he feels. He knows that I care. He matters. And then Kwelkala also, I'm trying to like maintain the standard of being a good girlfriend. I'm also trying to reassure him that nothing is happening. We're literally just friends with this person, and all I want to do is get you guys back to being friends again, and for things to go back to normal, to how they were. But it got clear that for as long as I was with this person, they were never gonna become friends again. Like, I basically was what stood between them and the friendship. So it was either I stop with the relationship or I break the friendship. Like, but or just, I think actually now that I think about it, the easiest way would have been just leaving both worlds once, because whether I had decided to stay and be a girlfriend or I had decided to stay and be a friend, there was still gonna be that beef between them, that, you know, you are still with this person that I wanna be with. So the only way that that situation could have been solved was to literally dispose both people and just let it be, so that they can then find a way to sort things out again. But then it didn't happen. And I remember this day that I think was the last straw for my male bestie, because he literally broke down and I didn't know what to do. So I wasn't around. My then boyfriend stayed in Sunnyside. So I went to visit him. We were chilling. Next thing, how my friend walks in and he greets, and then he starts like making conversation with my boyfriend. They start like talking, and I'm thinking, oh, nice. They're actually quite civil, you know? Candy, it was all an act. I don't know what happened, but it went from being a conversation, like we're all talking, and obviously I'm dating this person, so he's going to be like touchy and on whatever. And then he just stormed out, like my friend just stormed out, randomly just stood up, and he ran out of the flat, and me and my boyfriend both looked at each other and we were like, okay, what just happened? So I decided that, okay, no, sit down, let me go and check on him. I'm not sure what's happening, let me just go. When I walked out, found him by the stairs, like crying his eyes out, a grown man crying. And I had no idea how to deal with it, because I didn't know what was the problem. I didn't know what happened. Was it the reality of him seeing the two of us together? Was it maybe something that was said that made it too real for him? Was it just the environment? I didn't understand, because even him coming, he just decided to come, and he came because I was there and he knew I was there, and he probably felt some type of way about it, and he was like, I'm gonna go as well and see what's happening. Now I'm there comforting him on some, okay, you know what, let's go back. We stayed in Philip now, Pretoria West. So I'm like, let's go back. Let's go home, because I don't know what to do. And he was legit crying and not even telling me what was wrong. But then I just knew like it had something to do with me. So I went back in, and then I took my stuff, and then I told him that I have to go. Now I'm leaving another person for another person that's also not happy with the whole situation. So it's like, okay, so you're gonna leave now, like you came to visit me, and then now you're gonna leave this person. Then I'm trying to explain, like he's crying and I don't know what's wrong, and I feel like he now needs me. I can't let him just go back home by himself. It was bad as well. He was like, I feel like this is you choosing where you wanna be, who you wanna be with, because it's also very disrespectful to me. And I was genuinely not even trying to do that. It was not even me trying to choose who I wanted to be there for, but it was like the gravity of both situations was like he's literally crying his eyes out. He's broken. I've never seen him like that. And you seem okay. It's like I can come back later on or the following day and we'll continue whatever. But for now, I feel like this person needs me way more than you do. And I couldn't split myself in half, obviously. So I had to literally choose where I needed to be. Your girl left. And I think that was when the relationship ended. It was me stepping out of that door. Me saying, you know what? I'm leaving. We will talk. Because he's just not okay. By the time I went out, Kay had seemed like he pulled himself together. We left. And I remember when we got to town, I was like, let me get you ice cream. And then after that, we sat down at stairs for a while. And it was so awkward for me anyways, because it was like, okay, so what do we talk about? Do I ask you why you were crying even though I kind of knew what it was all about? Do I now say, okay, can you now continue from here and go back to the commune, and then I leave and go back because I know where I've left there's also like a huge mess. I didn't know. But then I ended up being like, you know what, let me just go with him. Went back to the commune and seemed fine after that. Days after that were a complete mess between me and my boyfriend. Things had just fallen apart. He didn't trust me. He didn't seem to understand the decision that I made, and he didn't seem to want to hear me out. So it was like, for me, also just a sign that it's done. There's no coming back from this, because he had also like decided in his head that you have chosen this person, and it means I've been right all along. There has been something going on between the two of you, and that's why he's been acting the way that he's been acting. So I think when I took that step, that sort of validated everything for him, which was like, okay, now it makes sense. Like everything suddenly was like true, even the things that were not. So it was just like, I totally get it. You've chosen, it's fine, bye. And he was hurt, and I didn't know how to fix it without breaking the friendship, of which that's something that I couldn't do at that point. I couldn't leave the friendship for him. And I guess that like he had every right to feel the way that he was feeling, because I also failed to do a lot of things that could have shown him that I'm actually in it for you and not him. He's just a friend, and that's all it will ever be. But eventually, it really ended. Like it ended, and I felt like I had broken his heart in the most unimaginable way, because in his head it was like I cheated with his best friend. So it was like, I don't know how to recover from this. I don't know what else to tell you, because I feel like I've told you everything. I feel like I've been honest, and just because I made certain decisions because I was trying to keep you both happy backfired, then it seemed like I was never in it for him in the first place. So after that, I think for some time he actually blocked me. I was blocked for quite some time. Like we didn't talk for the longest time, and eventually I accepted that the relationship is gone, it's fine. And because it wasn't a person that I was truly in it for, it wasn't like anything to cry about. And I think probably that's why I did not prioritize the relationship over my friendship, because it was just like it wasn't that deep for me. So it was like my friend, it's like genuinely I love this person and I care about them and I don't want them heartbroken. And you, yes I care, yes I like you, but then it's just not that deep. And then that ended up hurting him. So me and my friend continued being friends. We we became okay, and then their relationship was still like bad. They were still not talking. They were still um, falling out, and there was clearly nothing I could do about it because even like speaking to my friend and saying, you know what, now that I have broken up with him or that we've broken up now, try and sort things out. But it seemed like it would not happen. Like it was just like beyond um like it was beyond repairs. Yeah, that's the word. It was beyond repairs. So I also left it and then I continued being friends with him, but I also ended up hurting him. And there was no way that I could not hurt him because at some point I had to start dating other people because I did not have those type of feelings for him, so I couldn't be in a relationship with him. So in the end, I truly saw that whatever decision I had made was always going to break his heart. The main thing for him was being with me, and by me being his friend, even after he had confessed that, you know what, this is how I feel about you, and I I don't want you to just be my friend, I want you to be more than that. And I still continued, and being friends with him gave him hope that something would eventually come out of the whole thing. So he ended up being hurt because I came to a point where I also had to move on and see other people, and I wasn't happy, and I was never going to be able to give him what he wanted. So I think I made it worse by prolonging the hurt, because then maybe if I could have ended things earlier, then it would have made all the difference, because then he would have understood from the get-go that, okay, this is how she feels, and she's made it clear, and even her actions. Not this thing that this is not how I feel about you, like I don't have feelings for you, but yet again, every time you hurt, I'm there. Every time you are upset about me being in a relationship, I'm there comforting you. I'm there making you feel like it's like it's okay. So that made him think that like, it's okay, even though it was not. And that's why it got to the point that it got to, that eventually the things just became worse, and he he was hurt, and there was nothing that I could do because I was not gonna remain his friend forever and not see other people and be single because I'm your friend and you have feelings for me and I'm trying to respect that. It just was not gonna work out. So I decided that, you know what, let's just get it over with. Let me hurt you and then see where it goes. And I did, and he wasn't speaking to me for the longest time. For the longest time. And I wasn't happy about it. But then I stood by my decision because I understood that I was never gonna be able to be in a relationship happily with him as my friend. He would always have a problem because he had feelings for me. So everything would literally be a problem. He'd never be supportive about anything. So when they speak about like, I know it's not everyone. It's not like all the guys that are your friends will eventually like have feelings for you, or they secretly feel some type of way about it. I do believe that majority, yes, they would jump at the opportunity, especially if you're somebody that has a person in your life and then you've got friends that are opposite genders. Um, Chances are most of those friends, the moment things go wrong with your partner, would jump at the opportunity to be with you. Most of them, 99%, will just jump at the, like they're not you can say they generally are your friends, but there are feelings there. They do feel some type of way about you. So that taught me a lot of things. That taught me a lot of things. As much as it happened a long time ago and I was still young, like figuring things out, but I think like years later, looking back, it made me realize like you can't make everyone happy. Firstly, like you can't. It's impossible. You'll always hurt someone at the expense of another if you're trying to just live by making people happy. And it was exhausting for me as well to think about it, that I had to keep up this friendship that denied me happiness with my boyfriend, and I had to keep up with being a girlfriend, which denied me also being friends with my best friend, which made more sense because um, it becomes very tricky when you are in a relationship and then you've got friends that are opposite genders. Like it makes it complicated. It makes it very complicated, and even worse for me because they were best friends, and then this person came up out of nowhere and said, "I've got feelings for you, and I'm already now in a relationship with your best friend." And it also like made me feel shitty about myself because I felt like now I broke the friendship of years. Like these people grew up together, and they're gonna now fall out because of something that wasn't even there, you know. But I had to accept that it was what it was, and they're also grown men that made their own decisions. I did not influence anyone's decision. I tried what I could to mend their relationship and to make them see that it was just not worth it, especially because I was not even with my friend, and I didn't betray my then boyfriend in the ways that he had assumed that I had, you know. But yeah, he was mad at me for the longest time, but eventually he came around. I think he also grew up, and um I won't lie and say the feelings were not there anymore. They still were, but he accepted that I had moved on and that we were never gonna work. Like the only relationship we could really ever have, I mean, the only relationship we could ever have was as being best friends or friends, because now it was no longer the same. It just left a bitter taste in my mouth, and I think his as well, that things were like slightly awkward now. A relationship wasn't the way that it was the first time, and that's one person that really taught me so much about just people being there for you, you know, and men being able to go the extra mile if they want to. Like if he wants to, he will. It's not a circumstances where or um multiple excuses. Like if someone just wants to do it, they're gonna do that, and just that they are capable of doing more than we imagine emotionally. They can they can avail themselves to that extent. So as a friend, I learned a lot of things from him. I mean, that's a person that would literally, when I'm sick or if I've got period pains, he would literally like walk to the mall to give me like Nurofen and junk and whatnot. And the mall was not next door. It was like a very far. It was a distance, and he would walk to give me stuff. And just also like the emotional support that he gave me. Like there's a lot that I took out of that relationship, as much as it did not end well, or as much as it had some toxicity in it. But as a person and as a man, he taught me a lot, and he taught me a lot also on what to look for in a person that claims that they love you, what your worth is, you know, just small things that back at that time I did not even really take into consideration. But as years went, as I grew up, even when we weren't in touch, I started like really acknowledging things that he used to do, and that would make me think that, you know what, actually it's possible for a person to truly give you 100% and not give you half done things, or petty excuses, or just the way that they treat you. Like all of those things, they became the lessons. And I think it was for the best that things didn't work out, because I don't think it would have been healthy in any way if we had continued being friends, because that was always going to damage my relationships. Like that was just always going to leave a stain behind, and I was always going to have to be the person that explains that, okay, no, it's just a friend, nothing's happening. But then I know this person feels the way that they feel. So I think from the moment that a friend can confess such, and they know that you're in a relationship, it puts you in a very compromising position, and there's no coming back from that. There's honestly no coming back. It just makes things moving forward very, very weird, very awkward, just very tricky. And I don't know, I mean, there are people that have successful friendships with the opposite gender and it works perfectly, and they're in relationships and it's okay. I guess it's different from everyone. Hence, I'm also saying, like, not everyone that you are friends with and the opposite gender will have I don't want to say malicious, but other intents that are not about the friendship, like hidden feelings and things and just awkwardness. I don't think so. I think some people, they can manage it, but personally, because of what I had gone through as long ago as it was, but still I don't see it really working out. And I'm not saying like I can't be friends with, okay, I am saying I am saying that, but then I don't mean it in a way that I can't communicate, or I can't like have relations with colleagues, with acquaintances, but there's just like a boundary that you need to have, and it really needs to be thick. Like it needs to be a brick of thickness, you know, because otherwise it gets really faint and it's easy to cross that line. And sometimes it just comes in a form of something so simple, just a person being there for you, and that line becomes even thinner and fainter, and they're comforting you, and then it becomes even more. I'm sure you get where I'm going with it. So it's just a lesson learned from my side, based on having a male best friend, whilst I can't even say whilst in a relationship, because it was my friend first and then I went into the relationship. But just how complicated everything went and how badly it ended, I would not want to see myself in that situation ever again. But eventually, I think they became okay. I think now they're okay. I don't think their friendship will ever be the same, honestly. I think there's so much that happened that can't be taken back. There's so much that was said, there's so much that was done, that right now you can't go back and try and fix them. But I think they're civil. I think they are still friends. I think they are like still kind of doing their thing, and I'm happy for them. But I just wanted to share this story as my first story time, and I hope you guys I don't know if I should say I hope you enjoyed it, because it was, yeah, I'm also still starstruck by the events that took place. But take a thing or two from my experience. You don't want to see yourself go through such a mess. It gets it gets so messy with things like that, and it's a mess that is so difficult to clean up. I think I also like had guilt for a while that, you know what, I'm the reason that these people are not friends. I'm the reason that this person got hurt. They both got hurt in the end. And I felt like I was the reason, and I'm the person that walked out okay from the whole thing. Like, I didn't walk out with a scratch. I was like, I'm okay, it's fine, on to the next, let's go. And I felt like I hurt people and it could have been avoided. But I didn't know what I know now then. And obviously growing up, man, is a journey, and you learn so many things. Some of us go through messier things than others, but there are always lessons and things that happen, like you carry them out into your, as an adult then, yes, but I want to say into your adulthood, that somehow you always have something to relate to that situation, and you sort of like have a reference there to say, you know what, this is not even worth my time, like this is not even something that I'm going to try and get into. So I'm terrified of hurting people ever since then. I don't want to be the person that hurts someone ever, because it was ugly. And imagine if you can see a man cry their eyes out and like completely broken, and you know that as much as I didn't cause it, but somehow I'm also responsible. It gives you just another nasty feeling at the bottom of your tummy. It just makes you feel like some type of way. But yeah, it happened. We moved on, and yeah, that's all I can say. Hopefully they are both happy now, and they've also like taken some lessons from everything that happened, and moving forward in their lives, they've dealt with like things differently than the way that everything was dealt with back then. But that's it for my story time. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't, please don't forget to subscribe, to like, share, and comment down below. Until next time, bye.